Well, hello. Been a while since I've done a video, but it feels real good to be back out on the water again. Just been really busy. I have headed down to the Deux Rivieres area, about 2.5 hours outside of Ottawa. I'm going to do a day trip. I'm going to go for a little paddle, explore a few areas that I've only been to once, and the previous time the camera died on me, so I wasn't able to do anything with it. But should be, I don't know, somewhere between 25 and 30K on the paddles today. So looking forward to it. Temperature should be just around 20 Celsius, and we're expecting moderate winds. So let's head out and see how we do. Well, as you can hear in the background, I found this really beautiful waterfall. It's about, I don't know, I've made a number of stops and I've been filming, so maybe 45 minutes to an hour south of Deux Rivieres. Very pretty spots on the Quebec side, really lovely. Looks like there's a trail up the side of it as well. I'm not going to go up that today, but maybe on a future trip. That's pretty dang nice. So as you might be able to hear from the microphone, I've got a pretty good shop built up now. I'm just coming across from the waterfall. I found a spot here where it's not too bad. We'll get across to the Ottawa side or the Ontario side, and that way I can come up the inside shoreline on the way back. Probably got, I don't know, 12, 18-inch waves right now. Just duck in behind somewhere, have a little rest once we get across, maybe have a little drink. Gotta stay hydrated. So I'm out of the biggest waves now. Gotten in a little closer to shore. And I'm tucked in behind a larger ridge now as well, so that'll knock some of the wind down. I think I'm getting close to my destination, down towards about halfway between Deux Rivieres and Bissett creeks. There's a cove in here and some other water, and just going to relax there for a little while, paddle around, and then turn around and head back. One nice thing about it is that I should have a pretty decent wind at my back on the way back. That'll be nice, because I haven't been paddling a whole lot this summer, so this will be my first long paddle. So paddling into the wind on the way back would suck. So I found a very nice place to stop and get my bearings. I'm only about 1.5 kilometers from my destination. Absolutely beautiful. Maybe 20 degrees. There is a bit of a breeze in my face right now, but the nice thing is I will have the wind at my back on the way home. Lots of pollen in the water. There are big globs of it when I was coming in here. No wonder my allergies have been acting up the last little while. And as often happens when I'm out here, found myself a new lure. Have to replace the hooks and put an eye on them, but hey, another freebie. Alright, back out to the river. Finish off the last little bit of our paddle. least the first half of our paddle. So I've just gone a little bit past my destination now. I'm going to swing around and go back in a little bit, but I'm going to paddle around in this bay and around these islands and just do some exploring here while there's some time. And that way, get my exploring all done early, and I'll be able to get back, heading back towards the car probably around 2:30ish. Right now it's about 12:30. Looks a little shallow through here, so we'll just take it slow, but I think we can get through. The water's pretty high. It's late in the year, or early in the year. This looks like a great campsite spot. Here, check this out. Alright, this is the one I marked as a 4-star campsite on the Garmin. What a beautiful spot. There's even a parking area for the boat. There's an area for a small tent. If you were a hammock camper, you'd love it. And then a fire pit that's already set up. Very nice spot. There's a bay right back up in here that runs parallel to the river, but you can't see it at all from the river unless you come in behind a couple of islands. It's very cool. This is directly across from the campsite that I found. It's a bit of an island, and very pretty. And there's a little sort of inlet in behind it that it looks like you can paddle through. I also wonder, I'm not going to go explore it now, but there might even be a campsite up there. This is quite the boulder field out here, not too far from the campsite that I spotted. There's also an island just off to the left, a couple hundred yards out into the river. A couple of islands actually, and obviously some deeper water in between. Might be a great spot to come and try to do an overnight fishing trip. This is a little shallow area of the boulder field. Just at the end of it, just gonna turn around and come back out and then start heading back down to the area of Big Gibson Lake. And we'll stop there and have some lunch, which is gonna come a little bit later than I wanted, but that's okay. Well, as always, did a little more exploring around than I expected. I just can't help myself. However, I've turned around now. I'm going to paddle back down towards that bay that leads into Gibson, or that leads into the Gibson Lake access. I'm going to stop there, have some lunch, and just relax for a half an hour, and then we'll paddle back. Got a nice little alleyway ahead of us in between some islands. I always like these little slots in between the islands. Very cool. Haven't seen a lot of evidence of the beavers, but I mean, you know they're going to be around somewhere. There's also a Crown Land campsite here that I found last year when I was up in here, but while it's a beautiful location, it's not a great site. Someone's put a white marker in the tree there to see it, but like I said, it's not a great site. It does have a fire pit. It's got a tiny little area for a tent, but it's very rocky, very rough. Hammock camper, yeah, you'd probably be much better off in there. Well, found quite a nice spot where I can have lunch. Beautiful view. I believe it's a Crown land site. Looks like it gets a little bit of use. Don't know that it's been used this spring so far, but it's well cared for. There's no garbage, and that's a very nice thing. I did throw the fishing rod on the kayak today. I've tossed it a couple times, but I have managed to resist the urge. There's lots of pike in the river, and there's also walleye. I've just been throwing a spinnerbait, a new series of spinnerbaits that I bought over the winter, just to have a little bit of fun. Not really trying all that hard. All right, I kind of impressed myself by getting in here without getting wet. I don't think that's going to happen a second time. I think when I go out, I might get a soaker or two. All right, hopefully circumventing the mud bog was the hard part. And I don't know if you can hear the buzzing all the way on the screen, but there's a fair number of mosquitoes and bugs in here today. And after a very short portage, we're now at Big Gibson. So there are a couple of canoe entry points here. Pretty rugged portage in. But hopefully it would be worth it to have a nice paddle around this lake. Not today, sometime when I've got more time though. Well, I'd come this far, so I wanted to come a little bit further, do just a little bit of bushwhacking, and just get a better look at the lake. Very nice spot. All right, most of the task is done. I'm back at the kayak. Now, to get in without getting all muddy and soaked. All right, got in without getting soaked or dirty. Got out without a big disaster. Now let's get rid of all the bugs and go have a few casts. So it kind of nicely illustrates the haze. It's a bad forest fire year. Manitoba, Saskatchewan getting hit very hard. Northern Ontario, also a number of major fires up there. So there's a lot of haze and smoke in the sky right now. So unfortunately we don't get that nice clear blue sky. But it's still very nice to be out here. This area is kind of neat. Pretty sheer cliff face here. Goes up quite a ways. Doesn't stay up for very far though. It juts up quite rapidly and then it drops right back down again. Maybe, I don't know, less than a kilometer. There's some more pretty impressive ridges there, and kind of in the middle of the screen there's a couple of areas where in the springtime, the last time I was coming through, the runoff was still pretty heavy, and there was a ton of water cascading down those rocks. It was very cool. I'm gonna have to try and get in here again in April and record that. It was really, really neat. These spots are just so fascinating. Over, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of years, the water has actually worn back all of the rock here. It's recessed from the rest of the cliff face, and anything that grows on it, usually gets torn out by the roots, I'm sure, at some point. I'm not sure how easy that is to see, but there's fish activity up there. I'm not sure what those fish are doing. I think they've maybe got a school of bait fish up on top of a shelf, and they're feeding on them. So I'm going to take a couple of pops and see what's up there. Well, I was like 10% right. There's a shelf here, but it kind of tops at the same height in two different places, and it's just inches either above or below the water depending on the waves, and the waves are crashing up against it and crashing over top of it and under it, and it looks like fish feeding in the water. Anyway, full disclosure, dead wrong. All right, now I can keep paddling. Last stretch back down towards Deux Rivieres on the highway. Be about 20 more minutes of paddling, and then our day will be done. Cloud formations are really interesting. Scallop clouds, and then, I don't know, just some small cumulus underneath. Just a teeny bit of a sundog there too. It's kind of cool how it's emerging from that cloud. Well, I can't depart without giving it the old college try, so I'm going to take a few pops, see if I can't catch something at one of the two inlets here, and if I don't, we'll throw the kayak on top of the car and head for some dinner and then home. Well, back at the launch at Deux Rivieres. Didn't get anything at the one spot, and there's a bunch of people fishing at the other spot, so I'm not going to go crowd them out. Great day. No idea how many kilometers I paddled. If I get them off the Garmin, I'll throw it in the notes, but really fun day. I got into Big Gibson, found a couple of potential crownland campsites. Now I am starving, so it's time to go eat. So you folks take care. Enjoy the outdoors, tight lines. See you next time.